Hey y'all, welcome to another What Else is Going On, aka We Go podcast episode. I'm your girl, your host Taria. We are about to get into the Real Housewives of Miami. If you have not, go to my Instagram at We Go Podcast and check out the little clip that I posted from the Real Housewives of Miami. I think it's like season 3 or season 2. I think it might be season 2 or 3. I'm not sure. Y'all, when y'all look at the scene, y'all probably let me know. It is when Adriana wanted to snatch fire from Joanna Krupa's eyes. It was just a good old throwback. But let's get into this episode, season 7, episode 14, Navigating Friendships. I just want to take a moment. I'm never going to not do this. Um, Not depending on which video, but I'm never not going to thank y'all for your support, for watching the video, interacting with the video, sharing the video, subscribing to the YouTube, following me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at We Go Podcast One. That's the only different one. I just appreciate y'all for your engagement. There's so many content creators, and for you to add me to your roster of them, I appreciate it. All right, y'all. Let's get into it. So, the ladies are back in Miami. I said, when did they get to Miami? Because we was in Sevilla. They was fighting, arguing, knucking and bucking, cussing. And then we're back in Sevilla. I mean, then we're back in Miami. Like, normally we see them leave, right? Like, we ain't see no ride to the airport. We ain't see silence in the Sprinter. We ain't see none of that. But so Gertie called Stephanie to check on her since the first trip was chaotic. And I thought that was really nice. Gertie, and I said before, I think Gertie and Stephanie actually have a relationship because remember some episodes back when Dr. Nicole came on? They called Stephanie. And even though it's because Stephanie and Dr. Nicole had Anthony in common, Stephanie is Anthony's ex, for Gertie to be the one to call her, I guess maybe nobody else was going to meet up with Dr. Nicole, but we know Dr. Nicole and Gertie are friends in real life. And I feel like Stephanie and Gertie have a real friendship. Although I go back to, I do not like when Stephanie was on Watch What Happens Live and said Gertie needs to let it go as far as the drink throw. Like, y'all didn't do enough for me still, but Gertie didn't move past it. I'm gonna move past it, but I'm still gonna drag you for it, but I'm gonna move past it. But anyway, so Gertie calls Stephanie to check on her. Then we see Alexia and Frankie at the beauty bar. Alexia is talking to Larsa via FaceTime. She asked about Frankie, and Frankie's like, "Hello, my love," So Larsa asked her, Alexia, "How are you with Stephanie?" And Alexia was like, "I'm really offended." Alexia basically says, "Look, I'm gonna help you with Lisa. Maybe you can help me with Stephanie. We're going on this cruise. We don't want it to be another Sevilla type atmosphere." Julia and one of the twins, Marisol. I'm sorry. That will never not be funny to me. Stephanie called them twins. Anyway, Julia and one of the twins, Marisol, meet up. Y'all, I even put laughing faces next to my note when I was dictating that. I went and put a laughing face because I thought it was funny. But Marisol asked Julia about the boys. They FaceTime Martina. She's with the boys. Child Martina looked wore out just a little bit. Okay. Julia talks about how she wishes it was the six of them, meaning her two daughters, Emma, and I don't remember the name of her other daughter. My apologies. She says she ended up talking to one of her. She thinks things are on an upturn. It may be a little bit longer with this particular daughter, the youngest Emma, but she was talking to Emma and she had to rush off the phone and she said, "I love you." And she said her saying that to her gives her hope. And it's like she's saying it for every time it happens, it's like she's saying it for the first time. And my thought was, so does Emma not say it a lot to you on the phone? Or no matter how many times she says it, it's like the first time. I know that sometimes it can be children or the adult children of parents, right? That could be causing an issue. It's not always the parent, it's not always the adult child. Sometimes it could be on both sides, right? I feel like with Julia in every situation, she is always a victim of someone. It's never her. She threw water at Gertie because she was hurt because of what Gertie said, even though she started the thing when you go back to the beginning initially. With her daughters now, it's every time she says, "I love you," it's just like the first time, but she says it in a way like that makes her the victim somehow. Y'all get what I'm saying? I don't know. I just feel like in every situation, Julia is always the one that has been wronged. I don't know. And maybe that's because I don't see it for Julia. So y'all can let me know what y'all think about it. Um, so she feels like it's a step in the right direction. They talk about how loud Stephanie is and her delivery's wrong. Marisol says she feels like Stephanie has a microphone in her throat. To be fair, Alexia, all of them can get loud. Alexia, Gertie, Lisa, Larsa, they all can, Julia, they all can get loud. Marisol, maybe she feels it more for Stephanie because she's in a mood with Stephanie. I don't know. Child, if they have microphones, then the cast of Atlanta has megaphones. I'm just saying, even though I love it, but still, well, some of it, because sometimes they be really loud. But anyway, so she says her delivery's wrong, and Marisol says that's not going to work for me. I said, oh, okay. That's why they say I'm the leader of the pack. I guess her and Alexa, like, that ain't working for us. So basically, she need to get it together. Julia says it makes everyone uncomfortable, and Marisol is worried because of the cruise that she has planned with these girls. Like, we get ready to be all together again, coming off the trip of Sevilla, and us going back and forth. How is this going to work? We see Kiki and her dad. Kiki is sitting down with her dad, and they're at a restaurant, and she's trying to get him to try different food. Y'all know I got a little bit triggered. I don't even like using that word because I've shared before how I won't call it food issues. I do not like to try new things, and that's my right. Look, I'm getting defensive, y'all. Wait a minute. Y'all ain't even did nothing to me. Hold on. I don't like trying different foods, and I think I'm within my right. And it burns me up, and it makes me, I don't know if anxious is the right word, but when I'm going out with someone and they're like, hey, try this, and I'm like, no, thank you. Oh, no, just try it. Why can't you just accept no as the answer? I don't want to try it. Don't tell me you're missing out on it. I can't miss nothing I've never had. So when she's telling him, just try it, you're going to like it, you just sticking to your Haitian food. Let Papa have his Haitian food, and that's it. Like everyone who, people say life is about experiences. The experiences that I love and have are not through food. That's just me. It's through different things, right? So let us have our food and stop trying to force us. If y'all have friends who have a basic palate, let them have their basic palate unless they say they want to step out. Y'all see, this scene really did something to me, and I'm not coming at y'all, I promise. It just really let him have his food. Fortunately for him, it turned out well because I start sweating and stuff when I have to try new food. But anyway, she thanks her dad. Her dad ends up liking it, right? She thanks her dad for helping her with the family members who were threatening to harm her. Remember, in episodes back, Kiki was really upset. Gertie encouraged her to talk about it, and she's been able to help some people from Haiti come over. Now, with this new administration, it's harder. Plus, Kiki has had to take care of the family that she's brought over, and she's having family members threaten her. So, that, like I said, my heart went out to Kiki on that one. That has to be a lot. So her dad kind of talked them, I guess, down like, hey, back off. So that was good. Then Kiki talks about how close they have been. She's grateful. And her dad says, I would never do anything to hurt you. And she's like, you kicked me out. Remember, my stepmother called you, said she didn't want me there. You told her, kick me out. You allowed it. He said, well, look at you now with all these cameras on you. So basically, like, if I hadn't kicked you out, might not even be where you are. Parents will say that, though. They will flip it like, see, if I hadn't done something horrible to you, it wouldn't have made you the great person you are today. It don't always work like that. But fortunately for Kiki, it did. Kiki said in Haitian culture, they have this thing where the kids can't call their parents out. So she's glad that she had the balls to do it. I said, child, that's in Black culture. It's in a lot of cultures. A lot of cultures other than non-white, and maybe in white households they can't do it either, although from what I've seen, I remember growing up with my white friends, they could say whatever and I was in shock. I remember one time, y'all, this my friend, she was Puerto Rican and white. We allowed to say Puerto Rican, right? Because I don't want people to think I'm trying to be funny or whatever, but she was blonde hair, blue eyed. You would never think ever that she was anything other than white. Her mom was white, right? And she had two brothers. They were twins. They were twins, right? I know one was Matt, but anyway, they ate her gum. We were in fifth grade. They ate her gum. She was so mad. She went to her mom and I normally don't curse, but I'm not gonna say it either, but she was like, we're in fifth grade. She has the gum in her pack in her hand. She's like, Mom, they ate my GD gum. I'm bracing myself because her mom is about to tear her down. Nope. She was like, I'm sorry. I'll just tell them, to stop. Girl, what? You like still have your teeth? They're not talking from your throat? Like, child, yeah. So I'll speak for my different experiences around my white friends and their parents. But I know what Kiki's saying because I think it's in a lot of cultural households. They feel like their word is final. You ain't supposed to say nothing back to them. They're always right. And it's like, no, that's not always the case. And we need to break that. For me and my kids, I've always encouraged open communication. I know I can be stern and be, you know how they say that black mom, but I also try to keep in mind these are your kids. Out of everybody in the world, even if they know you're not going to agree, they should feel comfortable coming to you about anything. They should always know that no matter all the billions of people in this world, all the family members, I got that one or two, because I feel like it should be mothers and fathers. I have two people in this world that will hear me out. Not saying necessarily agree. So I get what Kiki was saying. Lisa and Jody. Lisa talks about how weird it feels to not be a Mrs. anymore. She likes being a Mrs., but not to Lenny. Well, but she said not to that other person, but we know she meant Lenny. She tells Jody that her finger feels empty. And he said, well, look at that. But she said, look, I ain't in a rush to get married anyway. They end up having a joint confessional. And Jody said, look, being in a relationship is tough, but being in this relationship is especially tough. Lawsuits never stop. And then the thing with Larsa. First, it was targeted at him, and now it got to the point where it caused infighting in their relationship where he'd have to sleep in another room. Lisa was looking like, I know you just ain't get up here and tell all that on camera. So she's like, cut to commercial, cut to a commercial. So he said, as much as I love her, it's hard to continue. No, this is when she said cut. He said, as much as I love Lisa, it's hard to continue with basically withstanding all of this unless we go see someone, meaning a therapist. And I think that's a really good idea. If he's really feeling like this is heavy on me since the beginning, it's always been this with you, even though it may not be your fault. Like, you ever knew a person that always had drama, and even though the drama was not always their fault, maybe even a lot of times it wasn't, it's still like, this is a lot though. Like, I think about the Diddy trial with Cassie and what was the rapper? Kid Cudi. And they talk about all the things that happened to him, like within a month or two of dating Cassie, from Diddy's side, his car blowing up, his dog, something being happening to his dog, his home being broken into. It's like, this is not your fault, but this is a lot. So I get what Jody's saying. So I think it's a good thing that he was encouraging counseling. But that's what I took it to mean. So that's when Lisa was like, cut to the commercial. So Lisa asked Jody, how did you feel when you saw the email that I was divorced? And he said, relieved, but we still got to work through stuff. Most of the drama used to come from her ex. Now it's coming from her friend group, i.e., this show. These men agree to do these shows, and I think they think, oh, it's just going to be petty drama. But then it falls back. Then when it rolls down onto them, they're like, okay, now wait a minute, this is a lot. Because she probably like, this is my job, I have to. And he's like, but now you're involving me in it. People are saying that I do AC. Remember when he went into the room with her party and he said it was because of the AC. So now all that's coming back on him, right? Jody says, I don't know why the bar for me sending a message is so high when Russell told her to show some respect last year. And I said, at first I was like, we're not doing that, Jody. But I recently posted that I was on my homegirl, Zell's podcast, who asked me podcast. Y'all, it's really good. Please go check her out. Support her YouTube channel. She's funny. She's all those things. But she said she didn't look at it like he was saying something like against Russell, like what Russell did was bad, but like, yeah, I sent a text message to Larsa. Russell told her to be respectful. Like, why is what I did like being dragged on so bad? I do get what he's saying about the texting because they were friends and they did have a texting relationship. So if I'm texting you, look, please keep my name out of it. Stop bringing me up. I think that's fair. This whole women can't go back and forth with a man. If y'all are friends, then we're friends, right? I've said that before, so I don't know. Jody is basically like, can you tell Larsa, I don't want anything to do with what y'all got going on. Um, and then just put it to bed, please. So she said, I'll do whatever I can to make it stop. Stephanie meets up. Well, her friend Anastasia comes to meet up with her. Is it Anastasia? Anastasia? I think Anastasia. Her friend wants her to have kids. I think she says she's going to freeze her eggs, right? Wasn't that? I thought that was brought up. I don't know, child. Her friend says, look, I think you'll be a great mom. And Stephanie says, one of my biggest things I struggle with is my delivery. This group says I can be bossy. And her friend says, look, you are a businesswoman. You're surrounded by men. So you have to be on, basically bossy. So her friend says, I think, and so Stephanie's like, thank you. That's what I've been trying to say, but they don't get it. Thank you. I think you said that now, unless we know things are cut out. You've made that clear in your confessional, but have you laid it out like that? Maybe in a relaxed environment with your friends. You know, sometimes it depends on the environment you're in. People can receive it better. So maybe they're not quite hearing that. Because when you break it down, it makes sense. Yes, I have to be this in my life. And sometimes it trickles down to my personal life. While it's good that you notice that, you don't get kudos for noticing. You get kudos for, you know what? I see this is affecting the people around me. So I'm going to work on that. And I have a feeling this is the first group. Well, I was going to say this is the first group it's affected. But nah, them sisters. I think this is the issue that the sisters have with her. So those other twins. So her friend says, I think the circle that you have right now is good for you. It'll bring out a soft side and an openness to you. You may not be able to change it completely, but at least you'll be able to think before you open your mouth. And that's the thing. People want folks to think, just think before you open your mouth. Doesn't always happen, but if it's a constant thing, it's like, okay, you don't have no pause, like no pause, nothing. You just write out. Again, sometimes it happens, but when you ever been around somebody and it's always like that, and it's like, okay, this is too much for me. A filter, because and the way you say things, you can filter. You don't even have to filter out what you say, but some it is. My mom used to always tell me, you can say what you want, Taria. Now we know in black household that ain't true, but she would say, and I learned that you can say what you want, but it's how you say it. So there's that. Um, uh, and I go back and forth because again, I just said there's a part of me that feels like this is who Stephanie is. Does she have to change for people? But then also sometimes you have to look at yourself and see if this thing that I'm doing rubs everyone the wrong way. Is it always everyone? We can all use self improvement, right? So sometimes it's like, all right, I'm not changing myself, but I am bettering myself and my communication skills. So in her confessional, Stephanie was like, basically, I have a right to be who I am. And I said, you're right. And the ladies have a right to react how they react to who you are. She said she's thinking before she speaks is going to be new to her. So I was like, well, at least she's admitting it. I'll give her like, and here I just said you don't get kudos for admitting it. But I feel like, especially on this trip when we go forward, she's really trying to be mindful of that. But she does say, look, I don't think before I speak. I'm going to try. Her friend said, this is an important time for you to connect with them. At the end of the day, they'll love you because they don't have a reason not to. I thought that was really nice of her friend. Because we've seen glimpses of Stephanie. Now, I'm not saying that she doesn't make a good housewife. I'm saying she irks my nerves with using her money as almost like a weapon. That's how I feel like the plane. But the makings are there, right? Even though I feel like she could go have a Jet 2 holiday sometime somewhere, her and her plane and her Jeticket. At the same time, I'm like, we could really have something. So we're on the Virgin cruise ship for the next 2 days. In her confessional, Alexia says, thank God Stephanie's private jet is not involved on this trip. Hopefully this time we can all have more respect for each other. Stephanie says maybe this cruise is a hard launch to a kinder Stephanie. And she got it right. She didn't say nicer, she said kinder because I say anybody can be nice, but not everybody can be kind. People have nice moments, but not everybody can be kind. So I'm glad she said a kinder Stephanie. Whew, so I said, after we go through all of this, I'm going to go ahead and give you the benefit of the doubt, Stephanie. The benefit of the doubt. At least she wants to. At least she's trying. And her confessional, Marisol says the cruise starts and ends in Miami, but it's It's not about the destination, it's all about the journey. They set sail, honey. So the ladies are all, on deck having a good time drinking. And Kiki notices Lisa has on her ring that she got from Lenny. So she's like, "Is that your wedding ring from Lenny?" Lisa's like, "Yeah." She wears it on her middle finger. So Kiki says, "You can make it a necklace." And Lisa's like, she likes it on her middle finger. It doesn't mean anything to her. So Gertie is asking Adriana, is she okay? And I thought that this was such a raw conversation. Like, I really felt what Adriana was saying through the screen. Like, I felt her emotion when she talked about this. She said she has a pinched nerve, and Gertie says, "I feel like it's something else, though. You don't want to celebrate your birthday. It's coming up. Like, why don't you want to celebrate?" And Adriana says, "Because of ageism in this world." In her confessional, Adriana says, ever since she turned 40, she doesn't celebrate. In her confessional, Gertie says, age ain't nothing but a number, and then jokes, she's posing. She's like, 47, take this. And then she's like, not the back fat. I'm going to work on that. And then she reposes. I thought that was funny. So back in the scene, Adriana is like really tearing up and she's really upset about her aging. And look, I get it. I am 48 and I remember when I was younger, I was going to say younger and fiery, and people feel like, oh, you're going to make history, or, oh, you're going to do something in your future. And then sometimes I feel like once you reach a certain age, they throw you away. Like, I still can't make an impact because I'm 48. And I let that get in my own head. That could be me questioning myself, right? Thinking that I could have done much more than I have done, but I chose alternate paths, right? I chose not to go back to school and finish. I chose not to do this. So in my own head, is it the world or is it me, right? But we do know that it can be a combination of both us doubting ourselves and our age and the world. Because on one hand, we say age is nothing but a number, but then on the other hand, people in different positions that are able to give you an opportunity look at your age and they're like, So I that's why I really felt what Adriana was saying. On Potomac last season, Dr. Wendy said that her mother told her it's people who don't feel like, and I may be not getting exactly right, but the sentiment was people who don't feel fulfilled or feel like they've done achieved their goals are the ones who feel like this. And I was like, well, yeah, that makes sense. She said it better than I'm describing it, but basically I got what she was saying. And you know what, with Adriana, it's totally different, I guess, because she's achieved so much, right? On her second master's or third master's or whatever from Harvard. So I don't know. I just really felt as a woman what Adriana was saying, and maybe men can identify with it too, right? So she said, I've been exchanged for a younger model twice. I get that as well. It's not even like they left her for somebody her age or close to it. So she feels like the pressure of society and judgment and the devaluation as a woman. And I was like, yeah, some society looks at us like cars. Once you drive off the lot, you depreciate in value. So I got it. But Gertie is like Adriana feeling that way and having her examples. Gertie is the opposite and an actual example, right? She says, be happy to be alive. I should be the one to tell you because Gertie just went through breast cancer and she's alive. She said, I'm healthy and I'm thriving. And I was like, that is a really good way to put it into perspective, right? The Gertie said, girl, let's get drunk. So they all go to Marisol's Rockstar Suite for snacks and booze. At first, Marisol was like, let's go upstairs for snacks and the rocks are sweet. I said, rocks? Y'all talking about crack? Why my brain went there when I know they wouldn't be saying that on camera, but it's just like rocks. What you mean? But it's the Rockstar Suite. So they get there. Marisol says, we decided to split into groups, split up in the groups. We need to talk about our issues and move forward. Child, the groups that she split them up in, nobody that has an issue is in the same group. So Alexia, it was funny. They're like, yeah, you split up the groups, but these are not the people that should be like, these are the wrong groups. And she says, well, we don't want any drama tonight. So she could have saved that whole, we need to talk. So let's break off into groups because none of the people that need to talk are in the same groups. So we have group A, Alexia, Marisol, Julie, and Lisa. So, and then we have group B, Kiki, Stephanie, Larsa. So with group A, some of the ladies were late and Lisa's like, oh, it's all cute when y'all are late, right? And they were like, oh, but because it's a habit with you. So they really could have said, baby, We've been with you. Yes, they can say 12 years, even though some of that was a break, right? Because they weren't all hanging out like that when the show wasn't on all the time. But they could say, for 12 years, you've always been late. It's a habit. This is tonight for us. We didn't just came from Sevilla with a quick turnaround time, and now we on this boat. This boat is rocking. And yeah, we was late. So with group B, again, Kiki, Stephanie, Larsa, Kiki says it's just so sad that we need to separate. She wants to spend time with the whole group. And I said, this goes back to what Adriana said that Kiki, when they were on there, when they were in Sevilla, Kiki was moping around the whole day, acting like she didn't want to be with them, like she'd rather be with the cool girls, in quotes. And I was like, mm-hmm. So Gertie shows up. Gertie looked nauseous when she was like, hey. And then Larsa said, this boat moves a lot. Stephanie said she was feeling nauseous too. I said, uh-huh, they feeling nauseous from that boat moving. Child, so we back with group A. Adriana arrives late and she says she wasn't feeling good. She fell asleep. I said, they all almost half the group is feeling nauseous. In her confessional, Julia says, I know how difficult it is for Adriana to embrace getting older, but she doesn't know what's going on with her and Adriana. I said, news flash. It's you. It's your sudden allegiance to the twins, Marisol and Alexia. Malexia. Alexol. That sounds too much like Lysol, but it's you and your sudden allegiance to the popular girl. Y'all, speaking of, I don't even know why this made me think of it. I did not discuss Julia's hair. Baby, that hairstyle she had when she met with Marisol, you know what it looked like? What are those things? Ding dongs. The snack ding dongs and how they have a roll with the cream in the middle. That's what it looked like on top of her head. Two ding dongs for on a ding dong. Like that's exactly what it looked like. And then this weave, atrocious. She wanted to try something different. I will say I do like her long lob. She wanted to try something different. I get it. That right there, I said, girl, what are you doing? What did y'all think of the hairstyles? You let me know. Anyway, thing comes up on the screen 2 hours and 5 tequila shots later. Alexia, Julia, and Marisol are in the room. Child, and they FaceTime with Larsa. Larsa is showing titties. She's saying she needs OnlyFans content. Larsa was actually funny on the FaceTime. And I was like, this would be more of the Larsa that I want to see, not the one that we've been seeing. So Stephanie ends up going to Marisol's room for an 80s workout. Marisol says, look, I don't exercise. In her confessional, she said, I would rather starve. I said, well, at least she honest. That's probably why she drinks a lot. Cuts out the food because sometimes a lot of both is not good for the waistline. So they discussed Marisol and Alexia not getting on the plane. Marisol says, I like you and I want to like you. I just don't want to know how much everything costs. Stephanie apologizes and says she's sorry. It comes across like she's trying to dangle things. And again, it does come across that. Like when she told Julia, oh, I can be bossy, but you're on my plane. Two, it could be both. I like you. Some of the things you do say are bossy. They're telling her about herself when it's hard for her. But she's telling Lisa about herself. But I think in her mind, it's like, I can tell Lisa about herself because she is late. It's not like she's offering them anything. Here I am coming with something and you got the nerve to tell me about myself. It's like, well, sometimes feedback is good. So she says, Stephanie apologizes. She said, I didn't know it was so bad that you guys would rather feel a certain way than get on the plane. Marisol said, that was me. I told Alexia she could go. I'll stay behind. But she said later on, Alexia said, you know what? You haven't had a good day. She hasn't had a good, I'll stay behind. No, she tells Alexia, you haven't had a good day, like a day of relaxation rest. Do you want to stay behind with me? And Stephanie says, well, that's a good thing, but Julia should have said that to me. Instead, Julia told me y'all said I was bossy and they were worried if they broke the rules, they'd be left behind. Marisol said, I knew that you probably weren't going to like that we didn't go. And I didn't get a chance to tell you about it. And then everything blew up. You had a chance. You could have told her when you got up that morning and decided, but you thought Alexia's telling her was better. Because when I reviewed that episode, last episode, I thought Alexia told Marisol that her delivery was better. But then I went back and it was Marisol telling Alexia her delivery would be better. So Alexia sent the text. So it's an excuse to me. I do understand, despite me being irritated with Stephanie, I understand how she felt away. Like all you had to do was say that. Now, maybe they didn't want to have to deal with the fallout from Stephanie and how she may be on the rest of the trip, them telling her she's bossy or whatever. But at the same time, Stephanie was told two different things. In truth, it was probably both things. They were annoyed. They didn't want you dangling it over their head. They felt like the group would get into an argument. So I'm not going to risk being left there because they truly believe she would. At the same time, we ain't been able to relax yet. It could have been both, and both should have been expressed to Stephanie. I do understand that. So she says, I like you. I want to be friends with you. This is a new start, Mighty Mouse. Her and these nicknames, I feel like she does that to kind of soften, to kind of make it feel like it's we have a relationship like more personal than it is. It's a new start, Mighty Mouse. My name is Taria. Thank you. But I see what she's trying to do. Then they show 8 hours later. They show Alexia and Stephanie, and Alexia is like, just so you know, Marisol had more things, like meaning more grievance. I'm assuming meaning more grievances with you. So the next day, Stephanie is talking to Adriana and says, I feel like Marisol is a jealous demon. I wonder if Alexia would be different if Marisol wasn't there. What y'all think? As far as how she interacts with the girls and different things like that. Because I do see a different side of Alexia at times. She said, I know who I'm going up against now. So I have a message. If you're gonna come for me, you better hit me with the bullseye. Because when it's my turn, I won't miss. I said, Lord, that reminds me of what season 4 was. It season 4 with Potomac when Giselle told Monique, basically, if you shoot at me, you better hit whatever because I don't miss. Child, I guess we'll see how this works out. I'm excited about the new episode of Miami coming up. I'm enjoying Miami. I really truly am. Yes, they have petty drama, they have real drama, but they have real laughs too. And that's what I like about this season. And again, everybody or like more than one person has things going on. It's not just all on one person. Stephanie, Stephanie, Stephanie. It's Alexia and Julia and Larsa and Lisa. Even though we're tired of that, it's not the focus anymore. So it's like you have like little mini fires. And I'm enjoying like, wait, what? So are y'all still enjoying Miami? Let me know how y'all felt about Marisol and Stephanie's conversation. Because I feel like, again, I still feel like they played in Stephanie's face a little bit when they could have just laid everything out to her. Let me know what y'all feel about that. Let me know what y'all feel about the whole episode. Love y'all, and I will talk to y'all later. I'm about to go record OC's review. See ya.